Today we're going to go over 5 dark theories that have to do with the creeper and his connection with his truck. Now I'm telling you guys, this is a crazy video and you are going to question a lot of what I'm saying. But remember, it's not about me. It's about you, the true Jeepers Creepers fans. So you make sure and tell us what you think. In the Jeepers Creepers universe, there's a strange symbiotic relationship that exists between the creeper and his truck. Not only is the creeper's truck a useful tool, but it also holds a significant meaning to the creeper. Over time, it's become an icon and somewhat of a sidekick to the creeper, but it may be shrouded in more mystery than we could possibly ever have imagined. In order to discuss the connection between the creeper and his truck, let's start out with some basic information as a foundation. In 2001, Jeepers Creepers hit the big screen, and it was an overnight success. And a big part of this success was because of the 2 main characters in the movie. We're talking about Trish and Derry, right? We're not. They're significant, but they would be meaningless without a monster. Think of it this way. Very few of us would tune in to watch Trish and Derry travel around the countryside without a subplot. But all of us would tune in to watch a diabolical monster hunt down and devour victims in a creepy-ass old truck. So although there are a number of great characters in Jeepers Creepers, the single most important character is the creeper, a vicious flying humanoid that feeds on people to rebuild itself. Now there's another character that's responsible for the instant success of Jeepers Creepers, but it wasn't initially recognized as being important. It would only gain notoriety and popularity over time. Of course, we're talking about the creeper's truck. Moviegoers were scared to death, but they didn't attribute their fear to a character. They attributed their fear to a thing, a truck. And the introduction of that truck was the luckiest thing to ever happen to a horror movie franchise. Now, during production of Jeepers Creepers, the truck was never intended to be a significant part of the movie. By that I mean it was merely an object meant to fulfill the script. Yes, they wanted something scary, but it was never meant to become such an iconic part of the movie. Most fans notate the opening scene with the truck attack as the scariest scene in any of the 3 movies. And for many, it's the most frightening and memorable scene in any horror movie they can recall. For some reason, the opening scene in Jeepers Creepers captivated and scared the hell out of everyone who's honest enough to admit it. Although somewhat unintentional, many things had to fall into place to create such a memorable moment. The reveal of the truck when the RV turns off the road is just pure genius. Then we had the unexpected nature of the attack. No one expected the truck to interrupt Derry's corny song. And the horn, or the voice of the truck, is just bone-chilling. And all of this is wrapped up in the idea that this could happen to any of us at any time. But none of these things propel the truck into becoming a character. As we watch this nightmare unfold, the truck is the face of the attack and becomes a very important character in the movie. The desire to conceal the creeper for the entire first part of the movie is what gave us one of the most iconic vehicular monsters of all time. As a matter of fact, it's the character that scared us the most. In Jeepers Creepers 3, we find out a lot more about the creeper and his truck, and this leads to some darker theories about them and the relationship that they share. This also causes us to question some of the things we thought we knew. Alright, hold on, because we're going to turn up the intensity as this video progresses. Now you can feel free to get off the ride at any time you feel we've gone too far, or hey, just stick around and tell us what you think. Dark theory number 1, the creeper does not hibernate for 23 years, and his truck is proof of that. The creeper spends a lot of time with his truck, setting up weapons, traps, and gadgets. These amenities, many of which are supernatural, help the creeper to hunt, as well as protect him from his predators. But when did he create all of these additions to his truck? A harpoon, a spear that comes out of the driver's seat, the spikes in the back, explosives, his license plates, the cowcatcher, and the horn. Did he finish all of these projects in 2 23-day periods while he was feeding? And what about all of the other projects he's created? I claim this is proof enough that the creeper is active during the 23 years that he's waiting to feed. Now, we covered that a little deeper in another video. If you're interested, check this out. Dark theory number 2. The creeper is connected to his truck, literally. In the opening scene of Jeepers Creepers, we do not see the creature, so the truck becomes the metal face of the monster. Essentially, the creeper is his truck. Now, this is truer than we think. Not only is the creeper represented by his truck in the opening scenes of Jeepers Creepers, but he is actually tied to it in a very special way, telekinetically. He is clearly able to move the truck without being in the driver's seat. We have seen him guide his truck while standing on top of it. Have you ever considered the possibility that when the creeper is underground for 23 years, he might be able to send his truck out to ensnare a victim and bring it back to him? The question is, how far away from his truck can he control it? Now, in Jeepers Creepers 2, we see that Jack Taggart Sr. is holding the creeper's knife and it flies out of his hand. I contend the creeper was nowhere near that house when that happened, and so it is very likely that the creeper could control his truck from a great distance. We also did a video on this recently. If you would like to see it, take a look at this. Dark theory number 3. The creeper's truck holds secrets about the creeper. Now, we really don't know what this means. We hear this piece of evidence in Jeepers Creepers 3 when the truck is wrongly sent to impound. Tashtago tells Tubbs, and I quote, "That truck is that thing's rolling history," and he suggests that it will never make it to impound. Now, we know Tashtago knows a lot about the creeper since he's been hunting it for decades. This tells us that the truck has a special connection to the creeper and that it contains his history that could be revealing and possibly even damaging to the creeper if that information were to get into the wrong hands. Now, this indicates a pretty strong bond between the creeper and his truck. I don't know about you, but I don't carry a lot of my history around with me in my car. Now, we suspect this may be a huge clue about the truck and what it really is, and we'll get into that in a moment. But even at face value, the creeper allows the truck to keep important information about him within its walls. Dark theory number 4. The truck may be supernatural, like the creeper. There seems to be a lot more to the creeper's truck than metal, glass, and rust. The truck seems to move and function without the creeper or anyone else near it. Now, it's almost certain this life power comes from the creeper himself. It is plausible to assume that the truck is reacting to the creeper's control, much like a remote control airplane or car. This is the easiest way to explain how the truck does things, like slamming doors and launching harpoons, all by itself without anyone there pushing buttons. But we have another theory. What if the creeper's power could be used by his truck? What if he could influence the truck to act on its own without needing his constant supervision and control? This is a scenario where the truck would become more of a sidekick or an accomplice to the creeper. Now, before you dismiss this completely, consider the possibility. The creeper could depend on his truck to work with him while he was out doing other things, greatly enhancing his efficiency and his body count. He wouldn't have to constantly think about his truck to operate it. It seems unlikely that he would just sit in a field somewhere controlling his truck. If that were the case, why not just be with his truck while he's controlling it? If the truck is controlled by the creeper, and we have seen this happen, it just seems a lot more likely that it would be on some sort of autopilot rather than to be constantly monitored and manipulated. And that brings us to the cliff. Let's recap for just a moment. We know the truck moves on its own. We've all seen this happen. And we know this is happening supernaturally because of the creeper's powers. If we can agree on these things, then we've already swallowed the hardest pill. There's no way to know exactly how it works, and just about anything is possible in a creeper's universe that we don't fully understand. And I'd like to add one more piece of evidence before we jump into the 5th dark theory. We recently did a video about the creeper's skull mace. This is a weapon that was introduced in Jeepers Creepers 3 that we didn't get to see much of. Now, if you'd like to see that video before we jump into the 5th dark theory, take a look here. What I'm about ready to tell you is hearsay, because we never got to see any of this in any of the movies. But this information comes directly from Victor. The skull mace was originally going to have remnants of human flesh still clinging to the old bones, and it was going to moan when it was moved or touched. And all of this was possible because it was said to imprison at least one human soul. Now, this is frightening information, and we never got to see it happen because of the budget that was allocated for Jeepers Creepers 3. And that takes us to dark theory number 5. The Creeper's truck may be more than just a vehicle. It may also be ancient. Now, how can a 1941 truck be ancient? This is a theory that we've actually had for a long time, and it is shared by a number of fans and followers. This opens up a multitude of speculations. Let's think about this for a moment. If the Creeper can imprison a soul in one of his weapons, why couldn't he imprison one in his truck? This would explain why the truck moves and reacts as it does. It would explain the horn as being the voice of the creature that's trapped within its metal skin. And it would also explain the history that is kept within the walls of the truck that the Creeper desires to protect. This would make the Creeper and his truck more of a team working together. Now, let's be clear. I think this would only be possible because of the Creeper's powers, and that the truck would be subservient to the Creeper. This is something that I discussed long ago with Victor. At the time, we were talking about what Galen might have that held secrets about the Creeper. We discussed that before the Creeper had his truck, he might have rode a giant stallion. I suggested that it might be possible that the spirit of this horse might be held in a medallion or a locket that could be worn. Ultimately, that object became the Creeper's severed hand, which I believe was a mistake. At the time, I suggested that the spirit of that faithful old horse could be locked within the Creeper truck. In Victor's own words, this could eliminate the Creeper entirely, and he was very opposed to it. Subsequently, more than one fan has shared their thoughts that the truck might have a soul attached to it. And one fan even suggested that it might be the soul of the Creeper's faithful old horse. As always, we'll leave this up to you. What do you think? Never ask, could this happen? Ask yourself, why couldn't this be true? And hey, sub up and join the Jeepers Creepers family as we travel this Jeepers universe together, looking for clues that might lead to answers. Until next time, we'll see you.